Oh, alrighty, guys. Um, Today we're gonna hop into Project Japan. Um, uh, Excuse me. I'm sorry I am 30 minutes late. I basically, one, I had to do some dishes and then I got caught up in not dishes, um, groceries, and then I got caught up in Facebook. But anyway, um, for uh today, um, let me see if we have a job already being taken. Um, okay, so we do not have a job. We need to get as much money as we can right now. Um, but there is a couple of things that I'm going to share with you guys today that's absolutely going to be some good news. Um, and it's all going to be relatively good news. Um, for today, except for maybe one thing, but uh, on a couple of things. It's gonna be a mix of both good and bad for today. Um, um, so anyway, we're gonna get started with some of the. I'm gonna try to get this done a lot sooner than I would like. Um, uh, as much as I can, we're gonna try and get myself genuinely going. The first couple of things. Um, Most of you have probably seen what's going on. They are literally on the Kennedy Center. They are literally taking Trump's name off of it as we speak, or have already taken all of it off by now. Um, for that, and then we've also not only that. Um, uh, and not only is that a nice thing to actually see and actually get done with that, we've also got the um of seeing things like that being relatively done and actually being great. Um, this also this weekend. Not only is Trump gonna probably have a bad weekend or a bad day, probably seeing his name getting torn away from the Kennedy Center. Um, Not only is that going on, they're also taking this weekend for his UFC fights. There's going to be um, I'm not gonna try. But um, this whole weekend is going to be pretty much a horrible weekend for Trump because one, a lot of things with the UFC fight basically was probably going to not happen this weekend because there's forecasted of being torn lightning and the thunderstorms this weekend. Um, Not doing what's properly being done. Um, but there's going to be gnats. There's going to be a lot of nasty bugs this weekend for him. So we'll have a lot of that. And then not only that, um, but uh, the couple other things that are also good. I actually wanted to really come in and say that we have some good news for some of the LGBTQ community. Um, Actually, really good news on that. But there is a couple of things. There is one thing that is really um, not so great with the community. Um, I don't get. Oh yeah, duh. Um, is that we had there was an incident out in Wyoming that basically um, had to be called in. This trans person had to be called into court because of an incident that went on in Wyoming because of stand your ground kind of thing. Um, there was a guy and this gal were basically at a bar, and the guy was basically hurling slurs and then ended up. Now, of course, that one wouldn't have been so bad if the guy hadn't have actually kind of brandished the hit on the person, to be honest. Um, and basically, all this trans person did was pulled out a gun. It was basically pretty much safety was on and everything was was there and is now potentially could, and because of that now having to go to court to explain the situation, explain everything, and potentially could end up going to jail for it, because for 15 years, because of some stupid innocent um stupid guy that had to make it happen. This is kind of one of those things where, yeah, you can have a gun for self-defense, but what about the time that you end up having to experience this because somebody does it? This is the whole point of why I'm not like a big fan of um, living in or wanting to live in these red states where things like that are going to have that effect of making the situation that it could be a lot worse, because they don't care about a lot of the LGBTQ community, especially trans people, because red states tend to really want to actually put hate towards the community rather than putting help towards the community. They want to really put in harm for the community because they think that it's a bad thing. They want to label the Pride Month, instead of Pride Month, they want to label it Nuclear Family Month or Fertility Month. They don't realize that LGBTQ people can get fertile. To be honest, they don't realize a that a nuclear family isn't just a that a they don't seem to really understand that they want to call it Nuclear Family Month. Well, guess what? Nuclear Family Month, they assume that it's just straight people, but the nuclear family, I mean, is not that. Is not a normal setup that they think it is. They think that um, they think that you can just say, "Oh, it's Nuclear Family Month," because of one, they they only assume that, but they don't look at that nuclear family is not is basically people who are not who are not a typical family. But they don't see that. They only see it for basically one way or the other. They don't see it in a way that puts harm to more people than it actually helps, to be honest. And not only does that specifically really do harm people and really harm uh, a lot of people, it's not only that, they are also kind of, doing things across this country in a couple of reasons that are really horrible as well. They are um, removing mail-in. They're basically going after states who do not want to turn over voter data to the government, and if they don't, they basically will not receive mail-in ballots. If they do not do it within 60 days, they will not receive mail-in ballots, and that's ridiculously, horribly a problem. And that's not even a thing that they really need to stop thinking, in the sense of that that a lot of people need to stop thinking about that the Democrats are harming you. No, they're actually that they are taking away your right to vote for the Republicans. On the Republican side, they're trying to take away your freedom of speech. Like I've said this many times. Like, a lot of people don't think that, oh, that oh, the Democrats are trying to take away your freedom of speech. Democrats are trying. Okay, it goes on both sides, but the vast majority of the stuff that I've been hearing and the stuff that I've been seeing, a lot of it is coming from the right, silencing your voice, silencing the way you are meant are doing. They want to take away your probably your right to protest at these ICE detentions. They're still doing that today. They're wanting to ruin. They want to ruin the importance of standing for what's right. They're wanting to take away those things, and you know they they don't care. They don't care about what goes on in your life. They don't care if you're uh they don't care if you're a good person. They only care about what they want, and they only care about if you they don't like you, you're gone. I've talked about this. I think yesterday. I think I did stream yesterday. I'm not quite for sure. I probably played Final Fantasy 13 yesterday, um, which we are slowly working on getting that um, through it. I might be live tomorrow afternoon. Don't count me on that though. Um, for it, but anyway. So yeah, but anyway, they want to silence the voices of people that they don't agree with. They're doing that with CBS. Okay, they're going to do that with CNN now too because of Warner Brothers merger that's going on. That Paramount and Warner Brothers are going to merge together, and that, that's one. It's one thing. It's one thing when a company is really, really, um, bad, but they were going and attacking Netflix for not showing movies in theaters. That they put it out on streaming services, but then they don't take it out. That's bull. There are a lot of then maybe we should be instead of um, making sure that all then okay then let's start putting TV and having movies that are exclusively only on a platform should go straight to theater as well. Any movie should go straight to theater before they hit the streaming platforms. But no, there are a lot of movies out there that do not hit the movie theater because they think that it's not going to make any money for that, so they just throw it on a platform, on a service. No. There are a lot of movies that are only exclusively to watch on Amazon Prime that never made it to theater. They it's one of those things where yeah, there's a lot of times where movies don't go straight to DVD and never made it to theaters because those things are not even gonna make. It's like ridiculous. Like they don't give the opportunity for it for a lot of these, and they think that it's Netflix is not doing right. No, Netflix is actually doing fine. I would have rather had Netflix had taken Warner Brothers than Paramount. You know, yeah, they're now going to right now. The right is getting. There's only probably one place left to really, unless there's really only one or two places left that I could really probably trust with news from the national media, and that's probably MS Now and NBC. And I can't stress this enough that I don't trust CBS like I used to. I haven't trusted CBS for like I used to. I used to trust CBS a lot more than I do now. Now, MS Now is the only other platform besides NBC now that I can really simply trust. I can't trust CNN anymore because they're basically got their thumbs on these places that basically, if they don't capitulate and say the stuff that they're there, it is now basically that they have to um, take away that support of putting CBS and NBC and these people. I mean, CBS and ABC capitulated. A lot of these places, like, I really dislike what's going on with the mainstream media, because they are literally silencing voices that have been there for quite some time, that they want to be there, but they are taking their voice away. They're firing people. They fired Scott Pelley because they basically wanted him to follow what was being said by the higher ups and lie, and put lie when lying is not something that I condone. I don't, like, you shouldn't be putting false narratives in the things that you say. Okay, now of course, if you're as somebody that, we're not perfect, and somebody does lie at some point in a small, occasionally somebody lies, that's a little bit different than that's a little bit different than saying that the editorial has to be followed this way, and you have to do it this way. You have to please Trump, you have to please him, and actually follow what he wants, rather than and it's starting to become part of that point that, that's what they're doing. They took away Stephen Colbert. Now, I'm pretty sure Stephen Colbert might have been a financial situation, might have, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that it was a situation like that. You know, I'm pretty sure it was basically because Trump basically, they're capitulating to Trump, and they don't want him talking about it. They're like, I don't care. You can be against LGBTQ. You can be against those things, and be against a lot of things that you don't agree with. But it's also, if you disagree with it, it doesn't mean that you should go after people for having being completely disagreeing on things. You don't go after people. If you continue to say the truth. If you believe that it's the truth, you continue to follow that, and you continue to say that. Don't go after and block people. There's that kind of, you block people if you don't want to see it. You block them. You don't have to listen or watch or have those things on that setup. Because look, it's one thing to abandon people, to block them, but it's another to go after them for those things that you may not like. There are some times where if they're attacking you specifically as a person, there is a little bit of probably something that you can do with that. But if you're just silencing people because you don't like what they're saying, or like what they're saying about you, and everything that they're doing is telling you the truth, well, why? And if you're a president, you need to have more thicker skin at a lot of things, because, to be honest, Obama did it better when he was on Fox News and things, and he always stuck to what he was doing. He always stuck to what he was basically doing what was right, and not doing the things that are they say no, it's time for you to leave, kind of um, Trump did this where basically he got frustrated and stormed out of the interview you know and a lot of times it's better that you follow, you do what is there, you answer these questions, you don't just get frustrated and angry and just leave, and then try to go after CBS because you dislike what CBS has to say about you, because you felt like you're things like that, and it's really sad to see things like that and take away those things. But I will tell you, you want to know what's even worse than that? You want to know what's even worse? It is trying to go after people that you go and you go after other countries for having some sense of understanding, that you go and you look at a country like Japan or another or Netherlands or Canada or whatever, and you go and you look at that and it's like you don't like what they're doing in that country, but you don't even know what their policies, you don't know how their culture is, you don't know what their lifestyle, their things that go on in that country. You have to really think about what goes on in these policies and things that will go on in these countries, that you know like you may look at crime here in the United States and say that the laws here in the United States are pretty bad, and you could say that, okay, but then you go and say, oh well, they're not doing enough, but there are a lot of people that say that they're not doing enough for crime in this country. Well, then you also got to look at other countries, and you got to really think about, there are people that say the same thing about their home country too, but yet when you look at um, the safest countries in the world, and you look at that, and you go and look at places like Portugal and things like that, they may be the safest countries, but they may still have crime. No country is ever going to have the no country is ever going to have the full um, portions of keeping the crime down. No country's going to be able to keep 100% of the crime away. There is going to be a lot of times where crime is less likely, and a lot more safer in other countries. The United States isn't the safest country in the world. Okay? The United States is not. There are probably other countries that are more safer, but you also got to realize that a lot of those laws are reflective of what's going on. You look at a country like the United States where you have guns in the United States, but guess what? You have the right to own a gun, but in Spain, I think it was Sweden, or another country that's right next to it, I can't remember, I'm not quite for sure, that also allows guns. They have the rights to have guns, but what happens is if you do a petty crime like speeding or things, they can take your guns away because it's basically taking away your gun. Doesn't mean that they're taking it away from you to take it away from you. They're doing it because you aren't paying those things, you aren't doing certain things, and you got to realize that you look at other countries too, and you got to think about it. You got to think about what they do. You can't just go out and go out and make um, um, you can't go out there and think that what you do here, and you expect them to have the exact same thing, the same rules here that you want to follow. You want to do everything that you can do here, but then you go to another country and you have freedom to do that one thing. But you got to realize that the freedom that you can do for one thing does not translate to you having freedom in other places. You know, you might be able to um, go into Japan and be able, or Germany or whatever, to be able to drink at 16, or be able to drink on the streets, and you know, but you can't. But then you turn around and you look at the United States, you can't do that. But it's all because of safety and things that, but you also got to realize that in some of these other places that, you know, that water and safety for things in those countries are not always um, uh, drinkable, and the things you got to realize, why is it such at a different age compared to the rest. Now that doesn't mean that sometimes countries change. Countries are changing their ways. You look at Japan. Japan allows smoking everywhere, but it's slowly changing to the point that they're slowly behind in a lot of other countries on that issue. But that's because Japan is really takes things to where it's their way of life and it's their way of doing things. You can't just forcefully change a country and forcefully make them believe everything. You know, it's kind of the same thing with LGBTQ. You can't change somebody's gender or change somebody's um, way of doing things. You can't, um, when you look at a uh, somebody who's gay, you can't change them. You have to just let it go and they have to be the ones willing to change. You can't do that, and you can't change somebody's way of thinking. You can't force them to join a religion and follow your religion and believe that way. It's the same thing where you might not be able to you can't force somebody to do that. They have to be willing to change on a lot of things. Now there are some things where you can have a debate on a lot of things, but having a debate on somebody's gender or um, somebody who wants debate on somebody who wants to marry, you can't. I'm not gonna have that debate on that issue. It's basically you're gonna either get away from this channel and not be um and if you're gonna argue about that, because I'm not gonna capitulate. I'm not gonna change my view on people who want to marry. They have every right to marry, and they should be able to marry whoever they want to marry. You can marry a gay person and I'm okay with it. I don't care if you're two men marrying. I don't care if two women marry. I don't care if a two non-binary people marry. I don't care if a trans man marrying trans woman. I don't care if two trans women are marrying. I don't care if two trans men are married. I don't care. It's whatever. Okay. I don't care. It does not affect me in any way, shape, or form. It does not bother me in that. It does not bother me when people go out and watch, you know, uh, movies that are um, R-rated, or movies that are much more um, uh, that are much more not appropriate. But that's their choice. I don't care if you go out and play Grand Theft Auto. Okay, I'm not gonna play it because of what's wrong with the game. But I'm also not gonna tell you no, you can't go and play it. Okay, that I will tell you. It goes along with the same thing as you know. There are some things that I may that I shouldn't be doing that I do, but that is my choice, and I have to be willing to figure them out on my own. And we shouldn't be um, on a daily basis. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of differences when it comes to when you um, have certain things that are out there, and things like that, that we can always, you know, if they're wanting help and they're looking for that help, then you go out and be willing to help them. Okay, that's a thing that, is something that we should be doing. If they're willing and wanting to change, we can be willing to go out there and help them. But but if they want that help, they have to want it before anything. You can't force. It's one of those things. Why, um, you know, we can have conversation about it, but putting harm to somebody who is transgender, or putting harm to somebody who happens to be gay, or happens to be um, lesbian, or whatever. Okay, we don't put harm towards people like that. We don't put harm towards somebody who happens to be part of a different religion, you know. And to be honest, there was one thing that really bothered me is when um it bothered me a little bit, but then I realized, you know what, it's not worth to get over it, because it's not worth it to argue over about it. It's, they classified the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints not a Christian church, but they still recognize it. To be honest, it should have really been classified as a Christian church, because it's right there. Christ is in the name. Um, uh, but to be honest, I don't think they see. Um, they only classified. I don't see any other. Um, Hold on. Do we? Okay, I think. We need to get off here. Because I'm always so, like, confused with the network around here. Japan, I always have a... The problem is not driving on the left-hand side of the road. Um, it's more of... Of the network, the way that they have things built here. Here, that's the one thing that I do have. That, but hey, at least I will tell you there's actually good news about LGBTQ. That, Budapest um, mayor basically got his indictment. The how did how hold on. Basically, they had charges were dropped against the Budapest mayor for a pride after Hungary's new PM took office. Basically, that's actually a good thing that the PM is actually standing by over there, making LGBTQ actually kind of. I hope that you know that things get better in a lot of these places. The LGBTQ thing is the only one that don't I don't care. Um, the one thing I will tell you is like I don't care um, about the rules of laws in a lot of other countries. They can do it however they want to, but when you have certain things like LGBTQ things should be one of those that I will continue to fight for in a lot of these countries that deserve to have it. That's one of those that needs to be protected. It needs to have recognition in most of these countries. You know, Russia being a country that is a country that is criminalizing LGBTQ even further and further making it worse for people who are gay, who are trans, who are any gender of the anti-LGBTQ crusade over there. I don't like. Russia would never, even if LGBTQ was a protected class, but I still wouldn't go to Russia. I still would not. It's one of those countries that, you know, maybe because of what Putin is doing. Uh, on that. There's a lot of other things that I wouldn't support. I don't support North Korea. I don't. There's a lot of countries that I will never visit at any point, um, because of the rules and the regulations that go on. Go on within these are on a lot of these things. There's a lot of other um, things that need to be said that are not being done. Um, you know, it's a lot of these countries that are anti-LGBT. I will never visit. Okay, for first and foremost, but North Korea and Russia and I think China are the only other places I will not visit, not um, because of the way that they're handling their society. Those, like, I don't care. Their society is their choice, and how the people decide to vote and the way that they follow. That's fine. That's their country. That's the way that they want to live. That's fine. But there are a lot of people, um, you know, The only issue that um that I don't agree with is when there are things that need to be changed about some countries. Like I'm not like you know, Japan is Japan. Japan is going to be the way it is. It's worked for many years. It's not a bad country. I will tell you, like some countries like Japan. Wait. I'm gonna go this way. Um, but it's one of those things where there's a lot of these portions within these countries that there needs to be some changes within some of these countries, but I'm not going to go into things that I would change about another country or change about this, because most of the countries that I like, that I actually would support most of the time, there's only like maybe a one thing, like Japan for example. LGBTQ is the only thing that I would change about that country, but that'd be about it. I there's nothing wrong with that country. There's nothing wrong that I would personally change myself. You know, and things like that. But I will tell you there is a couple other things that you guys need to really think about. It is time for that if you are running Google Chrome, it is time for you to not be running Google Chrome anymore. It is time for you to leave and probably hop over to Firefox, um, Molvad, um, hop into Florp, hop into some fork of Firefox, um, and start enabling those ad blockers, because right now you can't use ad blockers on Chrome anymore. They are ending that support, and it's one of those things that you really need to focus on and get. And start actually taking back the things when ads are coming in. The United States is even basically saying, hey, you need to run an ad blocker because of certain things. I would tell you, like, if you're gonna get rid of these ad blockers, I want to tell you, don't just disable it on YouTube, okay? Please just disable it on YouTube, and actually, because it's worth it to disable on YouTube. And I would recommend that if you are going to uh, do a thing, is I'm not telling you to stop using it, to basically whitelist certain places, whitelist YouTube as a thing. Whitelist YouTube. Um, Personally, I would highly recommend you get YouTube Premium. I think it's a lot better. It gets rid of the ads. You are still end up supporting your content creators, um, supporting them and doing the things that are there, and things like that. I would highly recommend you do that. If Google isn't going to allow you to have ad blocks for basic other websites, then you need to really do that. Like I do not I do use an ad block for reasons. I do whitelist ad blocks on YouTube, to be honest. I actually pay for premium. I don't mind using, um, yeah, but I use an ad block basically um, for sketchy, downloadable sites for like GMC community, using sketchy, places um, for those kinds of places, utilizing things where, pesky websites that have ad block for those reasons. If it were me, I would probably maybe figure out a way to build an ad block um, that does not disable it, that does not disable ads on YouTube, but or Twitch, and just disables pesky ads for places like things that you don't, um, that shouldn't be there. But I know this is one of those touchy subjects that, but I'm gonna tell you, like, if you're using Google Chrome, fine, it's your choice, it's your decision. But I'm just telling you that if you are an adblock user, um, I would recommend you get rid of it. Okay. YouTube, if you're coming after me, I'm telling people that if you don't want ads, the best thing you can do is just get premium. Go and subscribe to premium. It's a lot better than an ad block, to be honest. What you're doing is you are supporting the importance of your creators. You're supporting the platform that you're using. It takes away the ads and supports a lot more for you in a lot of these places. Um, you get a lot more bang for your buck. You get to, if you are somebody that does not have unlimited data, um, then that's a great place to have a ways to download things, to have things on your phone and you want to, watch something because you can't access the internet because you're in a poor spots and things. You can do that. You can download music, and download things through premium. Premium does so much more wonders for you in a long run. It's there's only like I only have like 3 subscription services. Truly, I might have maybe more, but according to some of these Rocket Money ads that they tell you that, you know um for I don't believe Rocket Money one bit, um because the only 3 subscriptions that I have personally that I would highly, there's only 2 that I highly recommend that you have. That's your PlayStation, and recommending that you go $160 a year. Basically, what you are doing is if you were paying monthly now, and you were paying monthly, $160 a year is is better paying $106 a year than paying, um, the monthly fee that's going to cost you, that you're paying pretty much like it's 15, like I believe, um like if you're paying, I believe it was like $15, I think. You're basically, um how much is, um it for, um your essentials plan, it is $10.99 a month. Okay, $10.99 a month. Let me be clear. Okay, if you're gonna pay, um a $10.99 a month, okay, um You're paying $130 for it. $130 a year, okay? Go to the extras tier. If you're gonna pay, if you're willing to pay $10.99 a month, and you're willing to sit there and waste your time and money, upgrade to the extras tier. Bingo. It's $134 a month. You're paying a little bit more a month, but you're basically paying for what you would already be paying monthly at $10.99. Basically. So you already should be paying for yearly, because a yearly price saves you money. It absolutely is a thing. Now, if they start doing those things where you pay monthly and then you have the yearly plan, and they start doing something where it's the same, then you might as well just pay monthly. Then just go back to paying monthly. It's the best thing you can do. It's the only two services, and besides the premium, that's the only other subscription service I absolutely have on my own dime that I would pay for. I don't have any other subscriptions. I don't think I do anyway. That are absolute things I'd recommend. Now, if you, the only other one that I would probably will tell you, if you know, I'm the only other service that I will tell you to use is, you know, Paramount. If you are trying to give up TV, to get that, for just to have your local news, for weather, pretty much. But to be honest, you can always just go and listen to over the air and get your news that way and for free. So it's like just give up on a lot of your like don't pay for TV. You don't need TV anymore. Unless you're getting TV and internet and it's bundled together, then maybe. But even then, you don't have a lot of time to sit there and watch everything. You don't have time to sit there and watch platform after platform after platform and streaming channels, and you never watch every single channel. They just bundle it because they get, you know, on it, on those things. And it's always a good idea to have the ability to have multiple ways of getting information across. And a lot of these places, that when you go in and you look at these places that have a lot of the different subscription services, like, I always try to find ways where you can save your money and not spend a lot on funds. You know, I don't not a big financial expert, but I always look at what you should really do is focus on how much are you paying monthly on a service, and then figure out how much are you paying yearly for that. If you pay on a yearly basis rather than a monthly basis, and figure out that. Now of course, you may not use the service as intended. $80 a year. If you're only going to, if you want to save money, and you are paying for monthly, and you just want the essentials, go $80 a year. You're saving yourself, you know, you're gonna save yourself that $134 a year. You're gonna save yourself at least a 67 not 67, 60, $70, no. Because it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You're gonna save yourself about $50 a year. $50, a little over $50 a year. That you can use that $50 for food. You can use that $50 for other things. Use that $50 to support it, to pay for a service that you can use on a platform. I did not say 67. I said 60. I said $60, $70. And say 67, you loser. I said $60, $70. But anyway. So finding ways to save money is the thing that you should always be doing. You know, if you're gonna buy the essential tier and pay $10.99 a month, then you know, $10.99 a month, you might as well just upgrade to the essentials tier and continue to pay that. If you're willing to spend $10.99 a month, then go to the essential tier and pay the yearly plan for it and get more bang for your buck out of it. It's well worth getting that for PS4 and PS5 titles. You know, if you're on essential tier and you're paying the monthly price, go and upgrade to the yearly price. Freaking upgrade to the yearly price on the premium edition. You're basically wasting money that if you're paying monthly, you might as well just go upgrade to the extras, to the premium tier, and you get more bang for your buck. Seriously. You get PlayStation pictures, you get you get the pictures, PlayStation Pictures Core, or Sony's Picture Core, basically, not PlayStation, Sony, and you get some free movies to watch with that. You get, you know, things that you know, a subscription that actually is well worth a subscription service. Nice glass. I'm gonna use the ETC, and then I'm gonna go this way. I'm almost done with the Warzone one. I'm only got like the knifing one and and one other one to get done. I think like I'm almost done with the Warzone. So I'm gonna do Warzone tonight. Try to get that one. And then tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but on Sunday I'm gonna do multiplayer for Sunday, and then on Monday I'm gonna do zombies for it, and get that one set up for that one.
イベント録画が行われました。
Off. Yeah, my truck, oops. My truck has significant damage, but if we really actually think about it, my truck actually has a lot of wear on it, more wear than it normally would, and being able to try to get this, like, I'm not making a lot of money just to repair this vehicle. I literally have 2 vehicles that are good shape, good running vehicles. But when I go over to my catalog and go to my bank, I have to pay 70,000 euros on that loan. I have to pay 26, almost 27,000 yen on that, not euros, and almost 5,000 yen on that one. And it's going to be taking me a little bit to do that one, because I need to fix this vehicle. I need to make sure that this vehicle can stop malfunctioning on me. It's like, yeah, you have a little bit of wear, that's fine, I'm not going to complain, but I have like 30,000, 30, 40 thing. I have a lot of malfunction with the vehicle. Does not make it a problem for me. It makes it more of an issue when it's my drivers. My drivers won't. If you have a truck that you want to drive and have some malfunction going on within your game, fine, go right ahead. But don't do it for your drivers. Don't hire a driver and give them a vehicle that you can't run. Because you don't want to have a vehicle. Because you don't want to have a vehicle that's malfunctioning and then give it to them and then they can't drive it. And they won't. And then you have to lose a driver. That end up quitting because you cannot get them the best truck available for them. But it looks like that they are slowly coming closer to working for getting the game out for consoles, slowly but surely. So it's getting closer, I can tell you that. But SCS does not, like, yes, they are announced for consoles, yes, they are coming to consoles, but they are not ready to release the game yet. They are one of these companies that they want to make sure that the game runs as smoothly as possible, and get the game out there as in the best way possible. They give us the opportunity when they do things. I could be on 1.6 right now if I wanted to be and be beta testing stuff, but with a game like this, I can't do that. I can't just go to 1.6 and say, oh, I'm in Project Japan. I can't do that. I have to wait until they are able to get the 1.6 there on a lot of these things. But I will tell you that but there was an issue with this earlier that they're working at it, where a song got copyrighted off on a video. Now that doesn't mean like look, when you go and look at the artist, go look up the song, go look up the naming convention of the copyright and why and where it got copyrighted. If a song got copyrighted because that song was there, go and look up is the original person who created the thing, is it a label out there that is out there? Trust me, I literally had a thing with SCS software earlier where I got struck for having a thing where I literally put it up there and I said, no, this, I showed literal evidence of a 12-year-old Pro Mods video on the game, literally, and that's been around for 12 years, and this guy only released it for like whatever. It's like you check to see what's going on, why is it getting copyrighted, and I was like, I wouldn't have done anything, but since I knew that I was playing, I've been playing this game for a while, and then I was starting a copyright claim specifically for that. Now this is a scam. This is not the right thing. But and then and so that's why you should double check. Like if you have everything, check it. Make sure that that if you have a video flagged on a recent video because of it, check to make sure why it was, and make sure that you know that you have the right just to do it. Okay. A lot of times I don't. A lot of times I don't. A lot of times all I'm doing is I'm just mostly playing video games, and most of the video games that like this game is streamable. Like they sit down and stream this game even on a daily basis. So it's like they're known to streaming. They know that people are going to do it, and I usually do it for it. Um, I'm no um um on things like that. But anyway, what time is it? Okay. It's 5:47. Um, and how close are we to finishing this? No, we're finished. I'd like to get off soon. Need to get off because, we'll finish this. We will probably finish this on Monday. Because Monday's supposed to be Euro Truck with Project Japan. Um, on that. So yeah, and driving around. But anyway, I'm probably gonna get off here shortly. Um, all right. I am. Um, but I think it's just I don't want like a lot of these okay. Okay. We have 10 minutes, I guess. Cause it's about time. But for 10 minutes, we got about an hour and 26 minutes. There's no way I'm gonna be able to finish this. I might just finish it. Um, but because there's no way I can park. But I'm gonna try to go for a little bit. 6 o'clock is about as where I'm gonna get off. But about 10 minutes. I am gonna tell you that, you know, that if you guys are enjoying yourselves today, um, make sure you guys are followed here on Twitch and subscribed here on YouTube as well. Um, you know, I do primarily do not have. I prioritize putting YouTube and Twitch together, but I prioritize Twitch in the evenings. Twitch is my multiplayer content 90% of the time. YouTube is my single player content 90% of the time as well. Sometimes I will play Euro Truck at night on stream for Twitch. Sometimes I don't. And I do the same thing with multiplayer. So that you can kind of see what I kind of do on both sides of the platforms, and things like that. But that's not a place where I can park anyways, so. Yeah, there is not going to be any way I'm going to be able to finish this. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it there for today. We'll try to, if I gotten on earlier than what I planned on, I probably may have. It's going to be PJ. 520. No, actually, you can tell the last time we played this. 6, 12, 26. Alright. Anyway, I will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys are followed, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you hit that bell notification with the all. It's greatly appreciated there. And I'm also going to tell you, subscribe to Premium. Premium is well worth the price. Um, it gets you away from the ad block situation that YouTube has put into place if you have one. It's a great thing. I highly recommend it. Um, what YouTube should really do is if you pay for the 7, they should just put that $80 and pay for YouTube. You get YouTube Music um, for the premium, and you also get access to um, no ads. So that's a great place to do it. And if you hit that bell notification with the all, it just signals YouTube to send it to you no matter what. But make sure that you do have it, because sometimes YouTube changes it to personalized. Sometimes they don't even tell you at all. So, and sometimes you might have to deselect all, go to personalize, and then reselect all on that platform if you aren't seeing a lot of their content.